Welcome to Book Babble, I'm Definitivity, and today we are going to be going through the books that I read in August, because it is that time of year. Now I didn't read a lot of things in August. It was a bit of an interesting month for me because I had planned to dedicate August to Agatha Christie. I was going to be reading just Agatha Christie stuff, and I had a whole bunch of stuff planned, but as they say, the best plans of mice. So without further ado, let's just get crack-a-lackin'. First thing that I listened to was Star Wars Dark Empire. Now, this is an audiobook based on a graphic novel, Dark Empire. Now the thing that I really enjoy about this one is the fact that it is so different from any other Star Wars story that I've read so far. The big major thing with that one is Mr. Luke Skywalker is seduced by the dark side. This one is set 6 years after the Battle of Endor. It has all your favorites back in it. Han and Luke and Leia, Admiral Akbar. I thought this was a very well done audiobook. The nice thing about Star Wars audiobooks is you always get the John Williams music, so you get the sound effects from the Star Wars universe. This one was a full cast audiobook. The nice thing about when they do the full cast is, generally speaking, they get someone from the films to reprise their roles. In this one, you get Billy D. Williams reprising his role as Lando Calrissian. So because, like I said, I was on this Agatha Christie kick, so I had ordered from work. A is for Arsenic, written by Catherine Harkup. This is a fascinating look into Agatha Christie from a scientific perspective. They go through 14 of her novels and take a look at the poisons that she used in her books, and they talk about where she would have got them from, and whether or not it was actually her portrayal in her stories were accurate. They also bring out real life cases. It was a really interesting read, but it was just still a very unique read, something that I would highly recommend, especially if you like Agatha Christie. The nice thing about it is if you haven't read the stories, they don't really spoil the books. They kind of just mention certain parts and say, hey, if you want to figure out the rest of this, you gotta read the book. So the last audiobook that I listened to by Mr. Stephen Colbert, America Again. Rebecoming the Greatness We Never Weren't. This was just a fun listen. The best way to describe this was like binge watching his show. So if you like Stephen Colbert, maybe give that one a listen. The only book that I read this month, I buddy read with Kristen from What's Happening, and that was Hector and the Search for Happiness by Francois Leland. Hopefully I'm not butchering the last name. This one was turned into a film that starred Simon Pegg. I bought this one for her for Christmas, and we just hadn't really had a chance to buddy read something together, and we're like, you know what, now's probably a pretty good time to read this one. Hector is a psychiatrist, so he tries to discover what happiness actually is. And I'm not gonna lie, this came at a really good time for me to be reading this because, you know, I was feeling a little down this month. I only read one graphic novel. That was recommended to me by someone at work. He said it's a fantastic read. So this is the story of Alison Bechdel growing up in a funeral home and just dealing with her own life story and discovering who she is as a person and what that looks like with her family situation. Her dad dies, and they're not really sure if it was a suicide or if it was just a tragic accident. So there's a lot of things going into this story. I really enjoyed the fact that this was a human story. This was something that I think I related to, not necessarily because the situations were similar to my life, but it's something I could see someone who, you know, I could see this being the neighbor down the street or somebody along that line, someone that I know. And the last thing that I picked up this month was such a fun read. I reread it like 5 different times because it is a choose your own adventure book. It is Can You Survive the Zombie Apocalypse? I'm not big into horror. I don't really like to get scared, but this one, it just has a really fun, light tone into it. One of the endings, I ended up being holed up in a Barnes & Noble. This was very nostalgic in the sense that I loved reading these stories as a kid. And Max Browder does a really good job of not making it super grotesque, but still page-turning enough that you need to figure out where you're going and what's happening next. So that's it. Those are the books that I read this month. There's a few that I'm still kind of finishing up. I filmed this a little bit earlier, so I'm still trying to finish Flann O'Brien story, The Third Policeman. So from me to you, I hope your day is just to give you